It's sad how she basically lost her whole life for this ridiculous man. Hi there, I'm Roux. Welcome to my video where I talk about whatever I want. Inspired by D'Angelo I am, yes. And today I want to talk about what happened to ALLISON MACK to make her join a cult. Apparently, ALLISON MACK, while she was on Smallville, which is the TV show she's famous for being on, she already started trying to recruit other people to join NXIVM, saying that it was a self-help group, all that kind of jazz, which she probably believed it was. I don't think the dark things had started happening yet at that point. Several of her colleagues were asked if they wanted to join. One of them, the girl who plays Lana Lane, Kristen Kriuk, I don't know how to, sorry if I'm slaughtering her name, actually joined and did take some NXIVM self-help lessons. But she never ventured any further into the program. ALLISON, however, did. People who were fellow members of NXIVM said that she was the most devoted follower you could find. That she wholeheartedly believed that NXIVM would change the world, making it a better place. For years, she was a face who attracted people to join. You know, she's smiley, happy, bubbly. People thought it was really cool that this really famous actress was part of this and that she was so available and, you know, that you could hang out with her and be part of this thing that she's a part of. However, as the years went by, things started to take a dark turn. People noticed that she was getting thinner and thinner and looked more and more sickly and unhappy. They didn't know it then, but now we know that Keith Raniere loves to control what women do at all points. His whole NXIVM thing is about controlling women. He slowly starts to groom you by insisting that everyone kiss on the lips. And if you're uncomfortable with that, you know, you might bow out. But then if you accept it, it's grooming you to think that, oh, I'm just gonna let this man invade my personal boundaries, but it's okay because that's part of the deal and everyone's doing it. It grooms you to do things you wouldn't be comfortable with otherwise, which makes it very easy to then start to move towards more physical contact when you've already laid the groundworks of that kind of grooming, which is what he did to women. But as I said, he controlled everything about them. And he was controlling everything about ALLISON. He was controlling how much she ate, a crazy low amount of food, which is why she just became a stick figure, a skeleton at the very end. And she had to run crazy amounts every day and exercise, because apparently Keith Raniere really likes women to look like prepubescent children, and he likes to see that he has that kind of power over people. He also likes to sleep deprive people, which is another method to control people, because if you take away people's steady amount of food that they need to replenish their body and take away their sleep, because you need sleep to recuperate, you're also taking away their cognitive ability to question what you're doing and to make their own choices and thoughts. And that's what he was doing to ALLISON. An interesting fact is, she did become his right-hand woman. There was another woman who was that before, Pamela Kafritz. She died under suspicious circumstances, and then he swapped her out with ALLISON. ALLISON then became the head of his sex cult, DOS, inside of NXIVM, where all the women who join are told to recruit more and more women. The whole organization is built on this very disturbing slave and master system hierarchy, where even the top women are slaves, but it's to Keith, and then the women underneath them that they've recruited are their slaves, and they have to call the women who recruited them their masters. It's just very disturbing, but of course, when they lure women in, they say it's like part of like a sorority and a women's empowerment self-help group, which is not. Also, they don't tell them about the fact that Keith is the head of it. People speculate whether or not Allison was also being poisoned, because there are allegations that Keith might have been poisoning people, poisoning women in his life, and then those women developed cancer, and then they died, and then, conveniently gave him all of their wealth. That's what happened to Pamela K. Fritz. She died under very suspicious circumstances like that, and then he swapped her out with Allison. And the same thing happened to Pamela, where she went from a normal looking lady to a skeleton, just extremely thin and extremely skeleton looking. So people wonder if, on top of depriving her of sleep, depriving her of food, and depriving her of a social life outside of him, was he also poisoning her? And was that clouding her judgment? I don't know. But either way, she did become head of his tiny little sex cult thing. Apparently, she was so in love with Keith Raniere, and she didn't actually want to share him, because the whole sex cult thing is where he gets to sleep with all the women, and she didn't actually enjoy sharing him, but he said that that was just part of the deal, and she had to deal with that, and she had to get other women to sleep with him, and several women have said that Allison approached them and told them that, they should be sleeping with Keith. But apparently she didn't like it, which might explain some sadistic behavior on her part. Because if she was mindlessly, brainwashedly in love with Keith and she didn't want to share him with anyone, but then she had to, it might explain why she seemed to take such pleasure in torturing the other women that were under her. The brand that they got in the sex cult, because they were branded, looks like the initials of Keith, but also, if you turn it to the side, it looks like Allison's initials, AM. So it might actually be that they got together and designed it, and she's the head of the DOS thing, so it's it's Keith Raniere, but also Allison Mack. And I think she went to a dark place, because people say that she seemed to enjoy hurting the other women, and she seemed resentful of the fact that he was being shared, she didn't want to share him with anyone. It's really disturbing to think that she went from this bubbly, happy-go-lucky, really pleasant to be around person, ambitious actress, to a sadistic, right-hand woman cult person. It makes me wonder if she's gonna snap out of it. If in a couple of years, because she is in prison, by the way, both her and Keith Raniere were sentenced to be in prison for what they did. In June, we got the final sentencing, and both of them, they're in prison. They're not getting out anytime soon, or if ever, for sex slavery, for all the disturbing stuff going on. I wonder if she's gonna snap out of it when she hasn't been around him for a while. That's what happened to the ladies who killed for Charles Manson. They were controlled by him during the trial. They acted really bizarre, smiling, waving, because he had told them to. But then years later, after not being around him and not being under his influence anymore, and, snapping out of the brainwashedness, they came to their senses. At least, I think some of them did. I wonder if that's gonna happen with Allison, if she's gonna snap out of it, and then a couple of years from now, we're gonna hear the real story of what happened, and, from her point of view. I think that would be very interesting. I also wonder if they're going to check her hair, because hair is just a treasure trove when checking for poison. So, since people suspect him of poisoning people to mess with them, to control them, and to, be able to mindfuck people and just deprive them of their health so that they have to follow him, I guess. I wonder if they're gonna check her hair, because hair shows, for as long as it grows, it shows the time period in which it grew, and you can see what that person was eating, what kind of toxins they were around. I really want them to check her hair. It would be really fascinating. I honestly don't think she's ever going to be an actress again. She's been sentenced pretty harshly. I don't think you can bounce back from that, but, she could become an author or something if she snaps out of it. It's sad how she basically lost her whole life for this ridiculous man. Another thing that you might find interesting is they actually had a woman prisoner there was a woman who was found in a room, and she had been locked in this room for like a really long time because she didn't want to be in the NXIVM thing anymore or something. I don't know exactly what happened, but she had been held against her will, so, you know, they were charged for that too. I don't think any of them are gonna get out, probably ever. At least not Keith. I don't know about Allison, but yeah. Do comment below if you have any interesting information about this, what you think about it. Comment below. Thank you for coming by. This has been a really interesting discussion. And that's the end of the 3-parter of NXIVM. I post every Friday Reddit readings, every weekday real talk, and on Wednesdays soon true crime. If you want to help me make this my full-time job, come back, watch, like, subscribe. You're awesome. Thank you so much to my wonderful patrons. Thank you for believing in me. If anyone wants to be my patron, because some of this shit is not going to be monetized because I talk about things that are too real for censorship culture, do check out the link below. But yeah, come back, okay? Okay, love you, bye.